No earrings today. Let me just get some earrings. Let's go with these. What's that? I think that's good. I think that's good. I wish I could play some music. I wish I could play some music. See, this is why I'm looking forward to streaming this right here. Speaking of streaming, before I get into this, happy Friday. Happy Friday, happy Friday, happy Friday. Happy Friday, happy Friday. Welcome to this week's Friday Night Live. I'm a little early, so let me wait a minute because I'm a little early. I'm a little early. So let me finish this row since I am a little early. But also, since I am also a little early, let me just ramble a little bit. Let me just ramble. And as people come in, say what's up to your girl, hit the like button. But okay, so earlier this week, what's today, Friday? Earlier this week, a couple days ago maybe, a uh, a bus tour. I was watching some camper van videos, and not van lifers, but more camper vans, like looking at the builds, the tours, and different things like that. So this bus tour came across my video, and she's in like a full school bus. It's pink and white, really cute. The bus is named Dolly because she said what inspired her was Dolly Parton, and she was like, she had saw Dolly Parton's bus or whatever. Was good, and so I watched her tour. She has a beautiful voice. The couple of songs I've heard, I like the lyrics of her song. They just fit me right. I was like, that's dope. But she Twitch streams, so they put up her Twitch handle. I was like, yes, 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 yes. So I ended up going to find her on Twitch, follow her on Twitch, and it was just so dope. Like, that was just so dope. She does, her music live and different things like that. Of course, some of the things talking about her van, and I mean, she's in a school bus. Her school bus, and just I think it was yesterday, I was on her live. Some upgrades she's doing, and she's about to hit the road. It was just really, 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 really dope. I was like, that's dope. So that inspired me even more. I don't have my microphone in. If it sounds horrible, that's probably why. Here it is. I'm so goddamn silly. All right, all right, all right. Mic check, mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check, mic check. What it do? What it do? Does that sound better? Is that better? Does that sound better? I'm sure it does. I'm sure it does. Um, And as y'all know, or may not know, as you may or may not know, I did get a new microphone, the same brand, but it for some dumb reason, I'm not able to pair it to this phone right here. That sucks. Also, with all the things that I just got, my lens, the ring part that holds that you screw the lens into, it broke. Like it's such a thin little piece of plastic. It broke. I'm like, that sucks. So I did contact the company. I think I'm still just barely within the 30 days. I'm gonna contact them again. And I sent a picture and everything because that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, it was only like $7 and some change, but anyway, just seeing her on Twitch, that gave me so much encouragement and motivation. And I did say that on the live that I plan on starting my stream 2025, and she was like, "Yes, do it, do it. We need more nomads that stream." Um, and also, God willing, 2025, I will be moving around more and will be moving out of California. Y'all just don't know. I'm looking forward to getting out of California. But anyway, um, yeah. So welcome, welcome, welcome to Friday Night Live inside of Le Château, the castle. So first, let me show y'all what I have done so far with my cardigan. So I still have the yarn attached for the sleeve that I'm doing. Make sure y'all hit the like button when y'all come in here for your girl, please and thank you. Welcome, happy Friday. So make sure I don't pull that out. All right, so this is where I'm at so far. That's where we're at. So this side, I have the buttonholes. You see them right there. And this is the side that I'm currently working on. You see my yarn right there. So this is where I will put the buttons. I started on my collar and hood. I'm actually going to take this out and start it over, but I'm not going to worry about that yet. And then this is one of the sleeves started. So this is where I'm at so far. And I'm hoping to have enough. I'm hope this is how much of the blue I have left, right? So what I want to do is I want to use the blue. When I take this out and redo it, I might do less blue. But I also, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to complete my sleeves first. Thankfully, I decided to use these as the cuffs because like they're perfect. This is perfect. So these will be my cuffs. Thankfully, that's for sure. These are my cuffs. I need to get my sleeves all the way done um, because I don't want to, if nothing else, the bottom is finished. You know what I mean? It's not a raw edge bottom. But I want to put this same type of banding, a waistband on the bottom. And I would like it to be in blue. So what I'm going to do is take this down some and maybe just do a couple of rows. And but again, I have to check out my yarn. I have to check out my yarn. Um, I think I have one more full skein of these, so that'll mean I have three full skeins of this here. And right now I'm using this. I think this is a wool, but right now I'm using this, right, for the center. And I do have more of this here, So, which is cotton. I believe this is a cotton, I think it's 8515 cotton and polyester. Um, so I may have to use some of this on my sleeves. I might have to. I'm going to, and this is how much of this mauve dusty rose I have left. So I'm going to go around here. I'll probably finish here. Okay, I'm at the start right now. I'm at the start. So I'm gonna do one more row on the sleeve of this and then save the rest for the other sleeve. And then once I have it even or equal, then I will use the rest of it somewhere else if I need to, maybe around the collar, because I just want to do the waistband. And I also need to keep in mind my pockets. I need to keep my pockets in mind because remember, my pockets are going to be on the front. That's why I went ahead and closed up the sides. Right. So I close up the sides. Um, I did not count my armholes. What I did was just folded it over, called myself lining everything up. So this armhole ended up being 8 stitches larger than this one. So what I did to try and make up for it, which doesn't make up for it because it seamed up higher, right? So the 8 stitches on the other sleeve means it's sewn up further down here, right? So what I did though, just to expand the sleeve to get the same 78 stitches, is I increased this first row. I did an increase. So yeah, but this is where we at so far. This is where we at. And I'm also hoping that I have enough yarn to extend it a little bit longer. Because if I do, I will extend it with this same color. And that means as I'm extending it, I will have to add more of the buttonholes. So I'll have to keep that in mind as I'm crocheting it to make sure to actually, I don't know how I would do that because this is going in a different direction. I would be going around. Anyway, I'll work that out. I work because I forgot. That's why I didn't do it. I meant to do it and I forgot, and I went ahead and started working on the sides. And then when I finished, I was like, "Damn, you forgot you wanted to extend it first, and then see." So, but this is where we at. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute. It's cute. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Yeah. I also once I also want to go around once it's all done, I do want to go around this section with another color yarn. Maybe the blue, whatever I have, but we'll see. We'll see once we get there. But that's where we at. That's where we at. Like I said, this is gonna come off, and I'm gonna redo this here. hmm I'm gonna redo the collar. So, what y'all think? What y'all think? I love it. I love it. So, I want to share something with y'all that I was just watching. I said a while. I always say that I don't watch Vanlife videos. Um, and so I was just watching. There's this channel that I watch called Magnates Media. I can't see nothing. Nice job. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So there's a channel that I watch called Magnates Media. And y'all have heard of WeChat, right? I'm sure y'all have heard of WeChat. I've heard of it. I didn't know anything about it. So the company is called 10 cents, just like it sounds. 10 cent. 10 cents. All one word. Like how we cents and dollars, CENT, 10 cents. Do your research on that company. WeChat is an everything app. It's a Chinese company, and WeChat is an everything app. It's Facebook, WhatsApp, TikTok, everything. It's everything in one. And that says what? That says that Tencent, as well as the Chinese government, has all these people's information. It's banking. It's everything. When I say everything, it's everything. You can do everything on WeChat. Dating app. It's literally everything. And because it's a Chinese company, and China is a communist country, meaning the government runs the country and the people. And so Tencent, to expand their brand, they also have large shares, aka ownership, in US based companies like Reddit, like Discord, like Snapchat, like the list goes on. And now that says what? That says whether it's happening now or not, there's a possibility that the Chinese government could demand or could get access to Americans' information. So if you don't know, now you know. This is why Trump has banned um, TikTok and WeChat. And this is also why I think learning about businesses and learning about some of these companies on a non-biased, especially non-democrat mentality would give Americans, and especially Black Americans, a lot more insight on what the hell is going on around the world. Because, baby, I was like, what? And here's what it is. Because Tencent is required, they're, because it's a Chinese company, they're required to do what the Chinese government says. Like some of their games that they created for their WeChat app, because it's a gaming, it's everything, okay? Some of the games and some of the things that they do, they have to put Chinese propaganda in it. They have to do what the government wants to do because the government can literally give them hell and shut them down. Literally. Someone was even So they can, the Chinese government can, if you say anything against China or anything against whatever, even in the NBA, they had to come out and apologize. They showed a clip of, what's his name, Harden, Harden apologized, talking about we love China, we love playing over there. 10 cents, 10 cents. If you want to see the full thing, YouTube Magnates Media, Magnates, Magnates Media, and you can watch the story there so you can see it firsthand for yourself. Google 10 cents. This shit is, I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? So, we be talking about Big Brother over here. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. So, I don't know. I don't know. I think the more you know about the right thing, the more you know about valuable information that's happening right now that could affect our lives right now, I think the better. And you know, that's why I know so much about so much, because I feel like I need to. I'm interested in business. I'm interested in, even before this. Like, these are the books that I've read, the audio books that I read. Like I said, like I shared a while ago, when I was 14, my mother bought me. Oh, I think I was talking to somebody, one of the channel subscribers. But I had said my mother, when I was 14, bought me Think Big by Dr. Ben Carson. And so just reading about, his life and how he became a doctor and what inspired him, and just thinking big and being interested in things like that, instead of being interested in learning more about poverty, or learning about shit that isn't going to benefit me right now, learning deeper and deeper about things that I know about, but going deeper down a rabbit hole of poverty and, just woe is me type of shit. That's not going to help me. That's not going to help me at all. Where is that going to give me strength in trying to build a business? It ain't. It's going to, if anything, make me feel like a fucking victim, in which I don't relate to that. So I'm not interested in that. I'm just not interested in that, because I've never felt like a victim. So I don't give a shit about the victim mentality. But I love watching about businesses and startups, because even 10 Cent, like, he was just a nobody from humble China. He didn't have anything. He didn't have shit. You know, Learning about the history of bananas, which is now their brand name is Chiquita Banana, but just the story of that, and even it didn't even start with what was it called, U.S. fruits or something like that. It was just some guy from Russia, poor as hell. Dad died when he was young. At 14, came to the U.S. because he was living in poverty. He didn't have shit. He had an uncle who had a grocery store here in the U.S. So he was like, I want to go there, and just hustled his way up. You know, off of overripe bananas that nobody wanted, that they were just gonna throw away. So, he saw that, and shit like that. Like, that's what I'm interested in. But just 10 cent, 10 cent. Keep that keep that in your mind, because that's the trip. Trump is not um, banning these Chinese companies for no reason. Okay, I don't give a fuck what you feel about them. Even Trump back in 2017, it was a couple of his books I checked out from the library, because it's business. I don't give a shit about none of the other shit. It's business. He's a brilliant businessman. I don't give a fuck about none of the other shit. I just, I don't care about any of it. One thing I love about John Paul DeJoria, the founder of Paul Mitchell and Patron Tequila, is like he said, he was like, I'm independent. I'm not Democrat or Republican. But if there's something, if there's a certain party that is talking about something or wants to do something that is aligned with my morals and my values, then okay, yeah, I'm going to donate to them. He was like, but I'm an independent. He just made that. And from my teen years, because there are three parties and it's no secret. And I've always said from my teen years, how come because more people aren't even independent thinkers? I first got my eyes open to the Democrats the first year when I was able to vote at 18. It was Bill Clinton. And I peeped how he's the one that put in the three strikes. I peeped how once he got in office and started doing the shit that he was doing, how a lot of black dudes, even some of my homies, would get pulled over and stopped with a dime bag. And if that was their third strike, they doing big bids. And I was in Minnesota at the time, where it was not hidden from me that a lot of the white white collar criminals was pushing big cocaine. This is something I was aware of in Minnesota. And they was just getting little taps on the wrist. But when Clinton implemented that whole three strike and all the black people, and just because he get his dick sucked, now we want to talk about he black. Like, we're just so gullible. We're so gullible and we're so easily impressed by the fucking serpent. It just, I don't subscribe. I don't subscribe. I'm not getting political. I just had to say all this that I'm saying because I don't subscribe to the fuckery, and I've always been a reader. Again, I grew up hearing that whole phrase, if you want to hide something from a black person, put it in the book. And I used to have these conversations and say, that don't apply to me because I read the books. I read all the fucking books. So that doesn't apply to me. That's how I know the shit that's being done because I read the books. But me as a teenager, I used to hear that all the time. That was an old school saying. That didn't start in my generation. That was an old school saying. If you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in the book. Well, that's not going to work on me because this Negro female right here read all the books. I read the books. So reading is fundamental. And you know what? I just saw something on Instagram. It was just a little quick clip. And when I say just, I want to say this was like a few days ago. A few days ago, I saw a quick little clip, and I did have to reshare it. But I saw a quick little clip of LeVar Burton and Lawrence Fishburne. They were in, I think that they were in LeVar Burton's home. And he said, the chains that I wore in Roots? Lawrence said, yeah. He said, I keep them on my mantle just above my 12 Tonys or Emmys or his 12 awards. And they cracked up and did the fist bump. And he was like, what is that about? And Lawrence said, I don't know. What is it to you? And he said, you know, um, I just want, he said, although, and he was talking about his white colleagues and associates and acquaintances and friends, as he said. He said, I just want them to know that although I am undoubtedly your friend, I am filled with rage. Filled with rage. He said, but I can't let it show. He said, he said, I was dropped by one of my sponsors. He said, I read Go to Fuck to Sleep for charity and was dropped by one of my sponsors. And he said it upset me. And Lawrence was like, you can't even say fuck now? He said, yeah, I can say fuck. I said it. He said, but there's consequences. He said, it's okay for me to I played this role. I played this role um, as this enslaved young African boy who was not willing to take their name. He said, then I ended up reading to their children and was I forgot the word he used, and was we'll say, peacemaker for their favorite starship or whatever. Because, LeVar Burton was the face of Reading Rainbow, which was one of my favorite childhood shows. Again, I was an avid reader from a little bitty girl before I even left St. Louis. And then he was on Star Trek Enterprise or Star Trek, whichever one. And just hearing him talk about that and how he says, I am absolutely filled with rage. That's me. That's me, absolutely. I've had black people who care enough to ask me and listen for the response say, you seem like you hate white people. But then, when I see you talk to them or I see you, you know, befriend one of them, it, what's, they were confused. And I said, I deal with people individually. I deal with white people individually. As a whole, as a whole unit of people, yes, I despise them. I have every reason to. For right now, today, I ain't gotta rely on something that I didn't experience. From within my experience, they've given me every reason to despise them. Individually, I can deal with them and be cordial with them and even be friendly. Individually, you put that same individual white person in a pack with other white people, that same white person that seems to be so different with me is going to morph into the same clan of who they are. As a whole, no, I don't. I don't trust them. You will never hear me backpedal and say, "Oh, my best friend is." I don't backpedal when I say anything because everything I say is truth. I have these conversations with them face to face, and I always have. And then when they start sharing how they're like, when I start talking about, you can't talk to me about black on black crime because I know the statistics. Growing up in Minnesota from the early 80s, when they would talk on the news about which white man just killed his white wife, about which white woman just tried to kill her white kids. Don't come talking to me. I'm not one of them dumb niggas that you think you talking to that is not well read. And then they feel comfortable to share their stories about, yeah, it's true. I know it's true. I know it's true. I'm 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 not that other one. I'm the other one, you know? And that also gives them a level of, if nothing else, respect because you got to come correct with me because I'm only being honest. I'm only being honest. I'm not saying anything about you that is a lie. I'm not defaming your character. When I grew up in the schools and I heard them talking about American history, right? And I'm hearing them talk about world history. All I heard was white people bragging on killing other white people. That's all I heard. Joseph Stalin, all these stories, all I heard was treacherous white people killing other white people. And y'all bragging on it. Y'all bragging on being just ruthless murderers of your own people. And then you find out there's other people around the world. Oh, let's go kill them too. That's just what you do. That's just who you are. That's just who you are. You can't tell me the Germans and the Austrians didn't look alike. What the fuck is the difference? What the fuck is the difference? They all look alike. German, Austrian. What the fuck? They're not all the same white people? Are you serious? Russians, Germans, Austrians, they all fucking the same. So why are they killing each other by the hundreds of thousands? because that's just what they do, you know? But I can deal with individual. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But if you reverse it, people of color, namely African people, never did anything to European people to make them hate them so much that you just cross continents, you cross the ocean, and decide that you're going to kidnap a whole group of people and then enslave them and then torture them. Just why? It's not even about skin color. That's what I even learned about racism. But as a black person, when you talk to black people and you say racism doesn't exist, they get emotional. Well, for one, race doesn't exist. It's ethnicities. And I know it's not even semantics. It's not even semantics. Ethnicities and nations of people exist. But it's all capitalism. And although I am pro capitalism, it's still, and when we as Black Americans, especially, when we can see this as capitalism, I feel like it should make us want to unite and do what every other nation of color do and has done, which is work together, pool their money, and build for themselves. But with that, you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself to think that you're worth it. Like the Mexicans love themselves. Each individual Mexican love who they are and love being Mexican. The Koreans love being Korean. The Vietnamese, the Chinese, the Japanese, whatever they are, right? But we don't even love being black. And we damn sure don't love being American. But we also don't want to be African because we never been to Africa and yada yada yada. So it's just a bunch of self-hatred. So I don't trust me, so I damn sure ain't gonna trust you. I'd rather just trust these white folks and continue to work for them and talk shit about them behind their back because that's all I know to do. Because that's really all we've been doing. So that's all I know to do. So that's all I'm gonna do. That's all I really want to do. I don't trust black people enough to pool my money with them. So I'm just going to spend my money with these same people that I know that hate me, that I can't even put in a good word for my child to go and work there. I'd rather do that and then just complain about racism and systemic racism and a bunch of bullshit instead of realizing that, okay, I live in America. This is a capitalistic world, even in scripture. Even in scripture. When um the king went and gave 10 talents to the one, gave 5 talents to the other, and gave 1 talent to the other. Left, came back. The one that he gave 10 talents to had doubled. The one that he gave 5 talents to had also increased his investment. The one that he gave 1, you just got 1 talent that you in charge of. He was scared, so he buried it. Says, "Sir, I was scared. I didn't know what would happen to it, so I buried it. Here's your 1 talent. You lazy. You lazy. This is in scripture. You lazy." So he said, "Let me take this one that you got and give it to the one with the most." Even scripture tells us you lazy. Look to the ant, oh ye lazy mofo. Like, come on. There's nothing righteous about not putting in effort for your own self. But those aren't the scriptures that we want to find strength in. You know what I mean? So yeah, going back to what I was saying, just 10 cent. Check that out, and the more you know, baby, the more you know, the more information you arm yourself with, the better off. Because my one of my elder cousins, who I'm half named after, she's 20 years older than me. She shared this old school saying with me back in my early 20s. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. Somebody give you a forewarning. It takes a real big fool to ignore that warning and not do a damn thing. Because I just put you on game so that you can arm yourself. But you chose not to. Okay. So then when the danger comes, don't nobody want to hear you talking about, oh, I didn't, oh, I wasn't ready. Oh. Don't nobody want to hear that shit. Don't nobody want to hear that shit at all. Even if it turns out to not happen. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. It's better to prepare and not need to be prepared than to need to be prepared and your ass is not prepared. One of my nicknames when I was in Arizona was Stay Ready. And I put together the Stay Ready crew. Because, baby, I ain't got to get ready because I stay ready. Okay? Okay? And because I was always ready, yeah, stay ready. That was my little nickname because your girl stay ready. I ain't got to get ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. Okay? So yeah, it was just hearing LeVar Burton say that was just very, very interesting to me. I loved it. I loved it. And so, with that being said, um, I communicate with all people. I'm a communicator, so I communicate with all people. But I don't bite my tongue. I don't hide what I want to say. None of that. None of that. Never have. And even from my 20s, I've had conversations with big, wealthy business owners in Minnesota. Even smoked weed with them, you know? Because, for one, here's what I know, especially when it comes to wealthy people, they respect truth and honesty, no matter what skin color you in. And I'm only speaking about experience, my real life, actual experiences. They really don't give a shit about anything. But one thing people who, even if they're not well, even somebody like me, I'm not wealthy, but I don't respect and care to have conversations with lazy people. I don't. I don't. And I'm not even wealthy, but I'm a hustler and I'm always thinking and implementing. I'm always executing on something. I don't care if I fall on my fucking face. I don't care if I don't give a shit about none of that. I do. I do. I do. I do. I do. I do. I execute on my ideas. I move. I take action. Even me. So much less someone who's been able to get a business off the ground and grow it from infancy to toddler to teenage to adult and possibly even to acquisition. It's not about skin color. It's about, do you have ideas? Do you execute? Even if you don't have ideas, are you willing to work? Not work for someone else. Are you willing to are you willing to bet on yourself? Are you willing to seek advice? It's not even about, we got this shit all wrong. We think it's about race and skin color. It's not. That's poor people shit. And poverty is here. That's poor people shit. That's poor people shit. Are you willing to learn? Are you willing to fucking execute? Are you willing to take risks? Because going to work for somebody else, if the pandemic didn't show us nothing else, which clearly it didn't, it shows you that there's no such thing as fucking job security when that's not your job. There's no such thing as job security. No such fucking thing. And even outside the pandemic, we know companies can lay off, and you go to work and you get in there, you do all this, you done woke up, you done got ready, you done fixed your lunch, you done drove here or took the bus there or whatever the case may be, just to get called in the office and get told you getting let go, or you work a whole day. Because, being a black American, there's no good time to fire us. There's no good time to let us go. Whether it's in the morning or you let us get all the way home or the end of the motherfucking day. You know what I'm saying? It's just never a good time to fucking get fired. But you can't be mad. Like, for real, for real. Yeah, you see your whole livelihood flash before you. Everything changes in an instant. And what's really fucked up about that and what's so damaging is you don't know how to think for yourself to even make another move. You know what I mean? Besides, oh, let me go fill out more applications. It's like, it's really, this is why W-2 workers pay the highest taxes, because W-2 workers are viewed as dependents. Like children are dependents, you're viewed as dependents. Someone else is taking on all of the risk. Someone else is taking on 100% of the risk. And then they have to pay to train you. Just like how a parent has to potty train their kid, you got to train your kid how to walk, you got to train it how to eat. Like, what the fuck is the difference? So someone else has to train you. They got to carry uh, insurance to cover you. Even if they're not getting insurance to where you can get insurance, they still have to have insurance on you as an employee, as a dependent, in case you get hurt at work. You're a dependent, so of course you need to pay the highest amount of taxes, because you're not adding to the workforce at all. You're not you're not giving anybody a job. You're not giving anybody any housing. You're not you're you're taking from the system. You're not adding to it in any kind of way. So of course you should pay the most taxes. You have the least amount of write-offs. you know you don't have access to any credits because you choose to not be any type of business owner or landlord. So you don't get any business credits or business incentives, because you're just an individual dependent. But that doesn't make sense to the dependents, just like the child doesn't understand why they got to follow these rules of the house. Just like a child, hates the fact that they have a curfew and got to go to bed at a certain time. Well, because you're not going to run up my fucking light bill all night long. That's why you got to take your, I don't care if you go to sleep or not, but turn them lights off and turn the TV off. You're not just going to be running up bills when you don't have nothing on it. No, you can't just, you're not just going to eat every fucking thing right after I go grocery shopping. No, no, you're not about to have one of every fucking thing in there, because you're not contributing. You're just taking. You're dependent. So as a dependent, you got to do what you're told when you're told to do it. You're not on your own time. You don't own your time. So um, this is your break time between this time and this time. This is when you, okay, why you keep showing up late? I don't give a shit that you 45. You're a dependent and you're my dependent. I'm, during these times, I own you. So get in line, you know, and you need to pay for that, because someone else is taking all the risk. And this is why I've been saying for years, I know y'all don't know me for years, but I've been saying this for years on social media, in person, back in the 90s, before social media. Um, when you research and read shit other than things that just cater to your woe is me sensibility, and things that make you feel like you have a reason to make an excuse for not attempting or not taking risks, then whatever comes your way is what comes your way. It's like if you overhear your kids talking shit about how you run your house, the fuck you gonna feel? You're gonna be like, okay, well, if you can do it better, then do it. If you can do it better, if you don't like how I run my house, where I pay all the bills, where I buy your clothes, where I fucking feed you, then do it better. Go do it better. I even had to tell my daughter that. You complain about all this shit when you were young, about our lives getting fucked up when you were young. I said, you moved out the day before you turned 18. And she was in her 20s by this time. What choices have you made for your life to make your life better? You've been making your own decisions even before you moved out. You've been, fuck what I say, fuck my advice. So who do you have to blame? You've been making your own decisions for your life. What decisions have you made to better your life? And if you're not willing to take any risk for yourself, then yeah, you need to pay the motherfuckers that's taking all the risk. If you're not willing to read up on how people started these businesses and how many times they failed and not even failed, but fell, FELL, fell on their face while building this business. How many times they went broke? I mean, even John Paul DeJoria from Paul Mitchell and Patron Tequila, even he was homeless twice. And the last time, I think he was 34, in his fucking 30s. You know what I mean? Because that's how shit happened. You know what I mean? The investor decided to pull out, and they didn't have no more money, and now he's sleeping in his car. It was a fucking Mercedes, but he was sleeping in that bitch and had to sleep in it for a cool little minute. But see, we, especially as Black Americans, aren't willing to take any kind of risk. We're not for ourselves, but we'll risk pretending to look like we have it when we don't, just for what? I can't even say to save face, because the broke people that you hang around know you broke. You know, so it's like you're not even fooling nobody. They know you broke. They know you literally don't have it. You know what I mean? That's just crazy to me. So, you know, the people that got it, that have built it, if they don't, it's not about race. Ain't none of this shit about skin color. Now, if you go into the deep, deep, poor ass South, now, okay, them pole crackers down there, okay, they hate they Black neighbors, yeah, because of their skin. Okay, okay. But they more mad because they can't figure out how to get unpoor. They mad because they're white, and here they are with the poor Negroes. Because all y'all got a poor ass mindset. That's why. And all you motherfuckers looking for a handout. That's why. But the mindset, even with a look, money don't fix mindset problems. Money does not fix mindset problems. Somebody can give you $1 million right now and you'll fuck it up. You'll blow it because you don't know how to invest. You don't have any ideas of any type of business ideas at all. I did a live a while ago. What I would do if I had a $1 million donation right now. Yeah, I laid out my whole plan of what I would do if I had $1 million donation right now. And if I had $1 million donated to me right now, I would. That's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. I would get my cleanser formulated and going right now. Right now, that's what I would do. And I did that months ago because it's a product. And once I get it out there, once I get the formula perfected, once everything is done and it's out there, I don't need to I don't need to work, I don't need to go and work for it. It's working for me now. It's working for me now. And like I said in there, I would hire uh, the right people who know more than I do, who has um, built up product, the right general manager, I would hire the right people. You know what I mean? But if you were just given money right now, you would just go and blow it. You would just go and blow it. So this shit ain't about race. It's not about skin color. It's about lack of ambition. It's about lack of wanting to soak up information. You know, we don't want to soak up information. Even as long as I've been saying, read the Bill of Rights. You need to know as an American, fuck your skin color. As an American, you need to know the Bill of Rights. How the fuck don't you know the Bill of Rights? Why don't you know the Bill of Rights? Why don't you know what's in the Bill of Rights as an American? As someone born here many generations, why don't you know the Bill of Rights? Why don't you know what your actual rights are? Why don't you know what's actually in there? Because it's a lot of fucking words to read. That's why. It's a lot of motherfucking words to read, and a lot of words that you need to have uh legalese knowledge of, which you can get simply by Googling. It's a lot of shit. That's why. And this is something I've been saying since 2014, 15, 16 on Facebook. I've even posted on my Facebook back during them dates I just said. I even posted one by one the fucking Constitution. It's the only land that we know. Why the fuck don't we know anything about it? Why don't we know anything about it? But then we expect somebody else. That's why W2 got to pay the highest taxes. I mean, come on. What do you mean tax the rich? They've risked everything. You know how many people have been married that started companies, then went through a divorce? Their wife left them because they were just simply trying to build a business, and because women just want a motherfucker that's gonna lay up under them all the time, but at the same time, I want you to lay up under me, but I still want you to be rich. It don't work like that. It does not work like that. Somebody gotta leave the fucking house. It does not work like that. End up being divorced, have kids, end up home being foreclosed. But when it was all said and done, because he didn't give up, now multi motherfucking millionaire, multi-billionaire dollar business valuation. We're not willing to make any sort of sacrifices at all. At all. We don't want to pool our money and buy that gas station in our neighborhood. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We don't want to pool our money and buy this motherfucking laundromat in our neighborhood. We don't want to do that. We don't want to pool our money and buy a fucking KFC franchise. We don't want to do that. We don't want to pool our money and with the best motherfucking cook in the family that make some shit that everybody love, and build a little restaurant, a little, neighborhood bodega spot with your auntie, with your cousin, because this shit she make is fire. We don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. We just want to talk shit about the Mexicans and the Asians that come here and build in our neighborhood, and yada 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 yada. But we see them do it. But then all we want to do is make excuses for why we don't do it. Make excuses in 2025 for why we don't do it. not 1925. None of us were alive in 1925. We weren't alive in 1905. We weren't alive in motherfucking 1855. Even hearing some Gen Zers, when they found out that all of MLK's videos and different things were in color because they had never seen it in color, propaganda. It's shown to them in black and white or in sepia tone. And when they saw it in color, there was a video a few years ago going around. They were like, it made it real for them as to how recent it was. Like, oh, it wasn't, because to me, as me being a young girl, when I was 9, 7, 8, I just did the math. Like, to me, it just made simple sense to do the math. Maybe it made sense to me because I was born in 1974, or maybe it just made sense to me because math used to be my favorite subject. So math, just do the fucking math. You know the dates. Okay, 1965. Just do the fucking math. Just do the simple math. And you could see, oh shit, my mom is that age. Just do the motherfucking math. But anyway, that's not what they did, right? They were just caught up on, oh, it looked old. But when they saw it in color, that's when it became real for them, and they realized, oh, this wasn't 100 years ago. It still hasn't been 100 years. Oh, these people are still alive. Huh? Huh? Oh, okay. Okay. And you see how they moving. You see how Gen Z moving. They're not making these fucking excuses that a lot of the Gen X and definitely a lot of the millennials are making. They're not making them fucking excuses. They see the error of the ways from the Gen X and the millennials. They ain't trying to hear that shit. They're not trying to hear that shit. They're taking advantage of what we have available to us, and they're making moves. And see, they're able to work with one another because they're all ambitious. Two Gen Zers can make shit happen. Me as a Gen Xer, a lot of my generation is scary as a motherfucker and got nothing but excuses and want to talk about a time that we weren't even alive in yet. You know what I'm saying? Or we were just fucking infants. But for the Gen Zers, they just see what's possible. They don't want to, don't talk to me about that shit because that ain't now, you know. But as a Gen Xer and with millennials, it's much more difficult for me to make anything happen with them because I'm not listening for the excuses. So, I'm just going to be on my own. But then there's a lot I miss out on. In 2020, one of my cousins told me about a grant that Pharrell was offering up for blacks. And this was when I was working on my magazine. I immediately went to it, immediately reading the requirements. Just like the government, a single entity LLC is not even recognized. So for the grant, you had to be a two person founder. You had to have two people. It couldn't be a single founder organization. And when I told my cousin, he was like, what? Da, 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 because I've been on this path for so long as a solo founder, I got it. I immediately understood because a solo founder can't do shit. You can't do it. You can only be self employed and you can only build so far as being self employed. But you're a disregarded entity. Even on the LLC, you're a disregarded entity. A sole proprietor LLC, it's a disregarded entity. You're not you're not regarded as any sort of actual um, company, corporation, or anything like that. Uh-uh. Limited liability. No. And it makes sense, you know? But the Gen Zers, the Zoomers, I love it. I love it. I love to see it because I think they should absolutely ignore the fucking millennials and the Gen X. Don't listen to a goddamn thing they say, especially if they haven't started a business or attempted to or gonna die trying. Don't listen to, I don't care if they are your parents. And me giving birth to millennials, being the entrepreneur that I am, trying to get my kids to be entrepreneurs and to not have to work for somebody, that shit was like pulling out good healthy teeth. They didn't want to hear that shit. They didn't want to hear that shit. I'm the only one that was talking like that. They didn't want to hear that, even though they saw me doing it. They saw me as a freelance makeup artist. They saw me building my own clientele. They saw me doing it. They didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit. They want somebody else to take on all the risks, and they want a handout. That's it. They don't want to take on any risk. They don't want to bet on themselves. Um, you know, and that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. To each their own. To each their own. But I'm just saying, that's why W-2 employees pay the most taxes. And it makes sense. We can't keep talking about tax the rich. They've been taxed. They've been taxed. With all the sacrifices they had to make, with being away from their family. Because to them, it was more important to create something for their great grandchildren. Like the saying goes, what is it? The wise man is the one who plants a tree knowing that he's not the one that'll uh, sit under the shade or some shit like that. That's the thing about it. We got to be willing to plant seeds that our grandchildren and great grandchildren are going to reap the benefits from. But we're not. We're not willing to do that. We're like, fuck them grandkids. Fuck my kids. Let them go out there and struggle and figure it out for their motherfucking self. Because I'm still trying to figure it out for myself. Although all the information is out here, I'm watching people do it. I talk shit about them do it. I talk shit about all the motherfucking Mexicans that pool the money and work together and all the Africans. And then I want to talk about what I don't know. Oh, they they get this when they get here. You don't know all the shit uh that they get taken for granted, and then having to hire lawyers because just to make sure immigration is on the up and up. You don't know how many foreigners come here and have to hire lawyers because they know the United States is fucking crooked. So just to make sure they're not getting even more fucked over, you know? And it's their own people, so they know they're not getting fucked over by their own people. It's their own people. But we just want to make excuses for why we don't even attempt, and then make excuses for why we don't support the black businesses that we know are out there. When I was caring for Miss Pam, it's this older black woman I used to care for in late 2020, and she lived in Compton. The zip code was Compton. She called it North Long Beach, but it was right there. Compton, 5-minute drive was Long Beach. Another 5-minute drive and was Carson. But I'm new here. I don't fucking know. But the zip code was Compton, and it was a trailer home gated community. So Miss Pam's dryer worked, but her washer didn't work. So we would have to go to the laundromat. So, I don't know anywhere. So, of course, I had to Google. I found this black owned laundromat 6 minutes away in Compton. Guess where we did our laundry at every week? And I even met the owner, a black man. Yeah, that's where I did my laundry. That's where Miss Pam and I did our laundry. And there was a laundromat closer, and she tried to give me. I said no, because this one is owned by this black man right there. When we went, and the owner was there, I said that's why we come. And I said it's only 6 minutes. You know, there was one I think like 2 or 3 minutes away. I don't give a fuck. 6 minutes. What's we're gonna drive here. We're gonna drive here. Yeah, yeah. That's where we went. That's where we went every time, without fail. And when I told her that was why I was going there, she didn't give me any slack about it. She never said anything about it anymore. Cause why the fuck would I go to another one that's closer that's owned by Mexicans? Why would I do that? And I have one owned by somebody that looked like me, of my same ethnicity. Why would I do that for a couple of fucking miles? That don't even make good sense to me. To me, that doesn't make good sense. So I patronize the black man's shop. But that's just me. That's how I've always been. That's how I've always been. Even from online businesses. Even online businesses. Black girl sunscreen. I bought her sunscreen, and that's the only sunscreen I'm gonna buy. And that shit is amazing. Black girl sunscreen, amazing. And I bought it from her website directly. I did look for it in Target, just so I could make a reel, but I ended up just getting it from her website. Lock God products, I buy her products. Yep, Near the Lock God, I buy her products. When I had my magazine, I discovered a black owned um, beauty salon owned by a husband and wife team. I wanted to feature them in my magazine. And that's where I bought some products from. And she showed me the black owned section in their salon, and I cannot remember the name of the line. She ended up selling the line, but the founder, and we were on YouTube together back in '09, and I bought that product when she was just bringing it out. But her name is Courtney, Courtney Adelaide. And I don't remember, she's actually the founder of this Cool Coffee Click. This is another one of her brands, Cool Coffee Click. But her very first brand was a hair care. I cannot remember the name of it. Anyway, she had it there, that beauty supply. And the beauty supply is called Cons. That's their last name, Conns. That's her and her husband's last name. And there was another local at the same beauty supply that I bought when I went there, um, Body Butter. The lady does body butters, and she's local in Compton. So I bought some of that as well. Ended up finding her page on Instagram, but you know, um, that's just what I do, though. That's just what I do. I do even still now. Like I go out of my way to support black businesses because that's what I'm about. That's what I'm about, and I'm still working and praying that it's in God's will that one day I will be able to build a black business to put out here into the market that everybody can benefit from, you know? And I'm praying that it's in God's will that He will send me a partner, somebody that is just as ambitious as I am, just as much of a risk taker as I am, that has the complementary traits to the traits that I have. Not like me, but somebody that has what I don't have, and I have what they don't have. We complement one another. So to make a great business team. And I remember reading Ayanna Vanzant's book, Value in the Valley, in my early 20s. And I used to read the ISIS papers to my children at night. Though I would read like a paragraph for their bedtime story. Value in the Valley was by Frances Cress Welsing. And so, anyway, Ayanna Vanzant, her book, Value in the Valley. I was reading that, and this was again in my early 20s. I was probably 22. And I found it very interesting when she was talking about when she had first started in business, being pro black, and she hired everybody black, her whole team, everybody was black. And she was sharing her experience of how, you know, uh, business just wasn't doing great, and how the lesson in that was not to hire people just because they're black, but to hire people that best fit the position. Because she ended up having to just start over, and get a new crew because, it's something about when we work for one another, we feel like we can slack off and this, that, and the third, the reverse of homie, or when somebody black work at a shop, you feel like, oh, give me the hookup, let me get the hookup, that type of shit. So I thought that was very interesting. That was enlightening for me to read as a young woman who also had that same frame of mind of, I want to hire everybody black. God willing, I get to that point. But I never forgot about that. I never forgot about that. And it just makes perfect sense because, we like, that's a higher level of a handout. We like being given handouts. And it's just like everybody has to earn their way. Everybody. And if you're not willing to work diligently, I don't want to say hard, but to work diligently for yourself, you're definitely not going to work diligently for someone who looks like you that's in an ownership position. Because there's going to be this sense of, you're not any better than me. Well, no one said that. But the fact of the matter is, I am the owner of this business and you do work for me. So, I expect you to do your absolute best in the position that you're in. And if you're not going to do that, then you can go and half ass on them white folks' job. But you're not going to half ass here and run me out of business. No, because I had to sacrifice too much to get here without the backing that this white corporation that you probably going to show up 30 minutes early for. You know what I'm saying? Yasm boss, I'm here on time, but you want to come in, you know, just right when you need to be clocking in for me. Nah, nah, we don't do that. We don't do that here. So it's really the self hatred is deeply rooted, and we got to learn to love ourselves, even just as individuals. As individuals, we got to learn to love our features, from our hair follicle down to your pinky toenail. We got to learn to love ourselves. We got to learn to love ourselves enough to educate ourselves. Educate. The root word of educate, educare, to induce, to bring out from within, not indoctrinate. We have to love ourselves enough to educate ourselves, to read, to look up words that we don't know, to just look up words in the fucking dictionary, just to expand our vocabulary, to read a variety of genres, to read, to learn about things around the world. That's educating yourself, right? We got to love ourselves enough to want to be better, to, instead of feeling attacked when somebody points out our downfall or shortcoming or mishap, instead of feeling attacked, love ourselves enough to be honest with ourselves to say, yeah, I know I do fall short in that area. To yourself. You don't have to say it out loud to the person, but to yourself. Acknowledge, yes, I fall short in this area. Let me work on this. Let me work on that. Let me let me figure out how I can get better, how I can be a better me. We got to love ourselves enough, because if you don't love you enough to work on you, you're never going to love me enough to work with me. That's never going to happen, because you don't even fuck with you. You don't even fuck with you enough to sacrifice an hour out of your week. I'm not even going to say day, every day. But you don't love yourself enough to sacrifice 1 hour out of your week to dedicate to learning something, even just about you, which is the most valuable. When you invest in yourself, that is the most valuable investment you could make upon any investment, investing in yourself. And this is what all the other ethnicities have that we don't have, with no excuses of how it got there. It's 2025. As individuals, there's no excuses, because nobody's going to um, come and hang you for being caught fucking reading. Period. Period. No government entity is going to deny you a free EIN. No government official is going to deny you from submitting and approving and filling out paperwork to start a business. But even before you get there, no one is, uh, there are no repercussions, no physical ramifications that will happen to you for reading in public, right? So, of course, you can read in private because you can read in public. You can read in public with no consequences. You can read in public. That may sound, I always say that because as a child avid reader, as someone who from a little bitty single digit age child have always loved to read, when I would read that I had ancestors that would get killed for being caught reading, that white folks would get in trouble for hiding or teaching little black children how to read, or a black adult or a black person, period, how to read. I didn't take for granted that I can read in public. I didn't take that for granted. So that's why I was real big on, no, you can't hide shit from me in a book, because I'm reading all the fucking books. Because just not long ago, people that looked like me were killed for reading. And now here we have the free will to read, and we don't even fucking want to read our Bill of Rights. We don't read anything. We don't even read the fucking ingredients on this bullshit that we eat. We don't read anything. The last thing we want to do is motherfucking read anything. But we have the audacity to blame anybody for why we don't have shit. But we're the biggest consumers. Black Americans spend the most money in America. But we don't, who do we blame? We don't blame nobody for that though. We take full responsibility for that though, don't we? Don't we? Okay. 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 All right. All right. All right. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. I mean, it's probably not crazy to most Black Americans, but to me, that shit has always been crazy. It's always been crazy to me. What did ASAP Rocky say? Since when has it ever been wrong, been lame to try? How you gonna make fun of somebody for trying, putting in effort? How the fuck you gonna make fun of somebody for trying? That's why I don't care what anyone says or thinks about me. I don't care that I haven't yet figured out how to build a big successful business. I don't give a shit. My mind is my own, my time is my own, my life is my own. And that says what? That says until my last breath, I'm going to continue to figure out how to figure it out because I'm willing and I'm able. And with God on my side, God damn it, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to figure it out because I have the will to figure it out. I have the determination to figure it the fuck out. And I'm going to keep executing on my ideas. And one of these motherfuckers are going to pop off. But I'm not going to stop attempting and putting in the effort. I don't give a shit who says what about me. I really don't care. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not stressed out about nobody's motherfucking job. I'm not stressed out about anything. No thing am I stressed out about because I'm up 100%. I'm up 100% from when I came into the world. I'm up 100%. When I came into this world, I was helpless. I was helpless. The only thing I had was my mind and my imagination. And goddamn it, I've been using it since I was a young girl. But I'm up 100%. I speak well. I think independently. I think very well. I think very, very well. I'm a critical thinker. I'm fast. I'm quick on my feet. I think very fast. Things happen. I can. I don't need to and fucking take 3 months to figure it out. You know. I adjust. I adapt very quickly. I know how to maneuver. A bunch of shit I wasn't able to do when I first got here. When I first got into the flesh. So I'm up 100%. You know what I mean? So I don't care who says what. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. Because I don't have to ask, as an adult, as a grown woman with children in their 30s, I don't have to ask a motherfucker permission to do anything. I don't have to ask anyone's permission to do anything. The fuck? I'm an adult. What the hell do I look like asking permission from another adult on if I can come and go and when I can come and go? This is how I view my life. So I don't care how anyone else views it. You know what I'm saying? And I think everyone should feel that way enough to take risk and bet on themselves for real, because baby, you know, 2020, the pandemic had a lot of people depressed and in fear, in fear, just feeling so uncertain about everything. But then what happened? What happened? They went right back into the comforts of what they knew. Now there were some because my magazine only featured small black owned businesses and entrepreneurs. Small, like just starting, didn't have a crew or anything like that, like really just starting, or little, like the shop, but just small black owned businesses and entrepreneurs. So I got to see a good amount of uh, entrepreneurs, black entrepreneurs that started their thing from the pandemic because they were now out of work. So this thing that they were passionate about and good at doing, they then start earning income from it, made a little business out of it, you know? So I did get to see that. And that was refreshing to see, because one of the things I started doing when it first happened in March, on my YouTube channel, on my other YouTube channel, um, I immediately started doing a live show 5 days a week. And that's one of the things I was saying, because at the same time I was building up my crochet, like I was crocheting everything, just getting ready for the opening, for the first wave of everything opening back up. I was just getting prepared. Nobody knew when anything was going to happen, and I was making a bunch of epoxy resin trays, and just different things. I was just getting prepared. Okay, I was just getting ready for when the world opened back up. I hadn't even ever been to Venice Beach yet, but a bunch of people was telling me about Venice Beach, so I was like, okay, that's where I'm gonna go. I'm gonna Google it and get on the bus, pack up my shit, and that's where I'm gonna go, which is what I did. But I ended up doing, I think, 56 episodes, because like I said, it was 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I was doing a live show, and that's one of the things I used to say on there. This be don't let this 2020 be hindsight for you. I'm telling you right now, like, you got to start making moves. You have to start preparing, right? And so I love, when I was doing my magazine, I love to see those entrepreneurs that, one woman, she started her candles, just different things. I love to see it. I love to see it. Customizing Crocs and just different things, like, we're cut from a very resilient cloth. All these excuses that we make, where did this come from? This is new. These are some new black people, because we don't come from that cloth of black people that just make all these fucking excuses. I know I don't. I know I don't. But just, without the jokes, as black Americans, and knowing what I know about our ancestors, we're cut from resilient cloth of making it happen. Cloth of interior designers who, because of the era that he lived in, white folks, his clients, wouldn't want to sit next to him, so they only sat across from him. So he had to learn how to design upside down. Shame on me for not remembering his name, but I'm sure y'all can easily figure out who I'm talking about. He was a black interior designer, and he had to learn how to do his sketches upside down because his white clients did not want to sit next to him. They sat across from him. I don't know about y'all, but those are the black people that I'm cut from. I'm not cut from whoever the fuck was making all these excuses. I'm not cut from them black people at all. But that seems to be, so many of the black people that's alive and around today. Like, where they come from? Where'd these come from? Because they're taking over. Like, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. Just a bunch of excuses. They're everywhere. When did this happen? When did when did this happen? That shit's crazy. When did we become so weak to just make all these excuses and not making shit happen? You know? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But I can't find an excuse to make because, like I say, I'm up. I'm up. You know, I don't feel defeated or whipped. I remember asking somebody, um, I've known him for about 5 years, almost 6 years. And I asked him one time what he thinks about me. I was just wanting to, because he's not American. He's black, but he's not American. And so I just wanted an outside perspective to see how he saw me. And I was mind blown at how accurately he views me to how I actually am, you know. And it blew my mind because a lot of the things he said, and some of the things that I say that he repeated back to me as phrases or quotes that he liked and remembered. And I was like, I never even really thought you paid attention. I never really thought you paid attention to me. It really blew my mind. But one of the things he says, I like how you don't claim defeat. He said, you don't claim defeat. And he's seen me through a lot of different situations from Arizona to here, like just a lot of different situations he's seen me through off social media. And he even had to say, I don't even worry about you anymore because I don't know how you do it, but you always do it. But he used, like, even in 2020 when I was leaving the co-living house, I just had to tell him, do not worry. Don't send that energy my way. Please don't worry for me. Don't send that energy my way at all. And that was the last time he worried for me because he saw how it ended up turning out. And I don't even fucking know. Like I said before, I don't even know. But one thing I do know is I never worry. I always believe because my life has shown me that I always it always works out. But when he said that you don't accept defeat, you don't call defeat, and I don't. I don't. I don't care what the physical realm is showing me. I don't care because I believe in my visions. I don't care what is happening in the physical world because this physical world out there is not my reality. My reality is here. So this is what I trust and believe because when I have a vision, it always comes into my physical reality since I was a small single digit age child. So why the fuck am I going to believe and trust in some other people's reality out there externally from me? No, I don't give a shit what is happening. I don't believe in that. I believe in me. I believe in my visions, period. Because that comes directly from God, period. I am. So that's all I believe in. But it just really, and everything else that he said too, but I loved that. That was one of my favorite things because I was just like, you're so accurate. So you see me. So not only do you see me, but I am a real reflection of who I actually am. And you see that. You see me for me. That was dope to me. That was really, really, really dope to me. I was impressed that he did pay attention. Like I didn't think he paid attention. I didn't think he paid attention to because we have very different views. We have very, very different views. But he always say too, because we have really great conversations, and he would always say, "You make me think. You make me think." I thought about that last conversation. I thought about, and I see it differently now. He would always, every conversation we had, even if it got heated, because we're both very passionate, and he would think about it afterwards, and the next time we spoke, he would always say, I thought about it, and I've had to change my perspective a little bit because I see, I see, I see clearly, and I think that's dope too. Because I don't have conversations with people to. I'm not in the business of persuading or changing people's minds, but I like having conversations. And if somebody has a point of something that I didn't see it a certain way, then because I reflect on conversations too, um, and in situations like this, like where daddy in most cases would have a weaker perspective, a perspective that was more aligned with victimhood. I'm never going to I'm never going to see anything that way. I'm never going to see anything from a victim perspective ever. So the only thing I can reflect on is making sure I um, wasn't forceful in expressing my perspective or disrespectful or anything like that. But I'm never going to view anything from a victim perspective. That I can guarantee. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. If it was ever going to happen, it would have happened in my teen years. And even as a teen, like I said, I was a freshman in high school. They started calling me Shalanda X. All right. Malcolm X, Shalanda X. From a freshman in high school. I just don't do that. I just don't do that victim mentality. I'm just not a victim and I'm not an excuse maker. But I think it's dope that when I'm able to have conversations with someone who takes more of the victimized perspective, that he always would come back like, I thought about that, and you make a lot of sense, you know because I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. And because I'm not a victim and because I am well read in a lot of different things, that's how I know racism isn't real. It's all capitalism. But socialism is why people think racism is an actual thing, because of socialism. You know what I mean? Because um, so many different ethnicities aren't able to coexist, quote unquote, peacefully. That's socialism. That's socialism right there. So it's easier to have a thinner line of racism, which when I was growing up, it was just called prejudice, which makes more sense. Prejudice makes a lot more sense. But now we got a whole definition behind racism, which again is socialism, okay, and capitalism. And then you have classism. It's a lot of isms, but racism just isn't one. It's just not one that I believe in. It's just not one that I believe in, because you can get to a certain stature, even if it's not financial. Like I say, I'm not wealthy by any means, but I've had very in-depth conversations, even in California, even in San Juan Capistrano when I was down there. Had an amazing conversation with a fucking billionaire on the beach. A lengthy conversation. And then another woman came up that just made the conversation more rigid. And, once she left, he was like, talking to you is so much more pleasant than this one, right? Because once she came, then feminism and, all of this energy came with her. And it was just like, nobody, that shit's just rough. You know what I'm saying? But he didn't give a fuck that I'm fucking brown and a woman and shit, don't have money. He didn't give a fuck about that. You're pleasant. You're easy to talk to. You know what I'm saying? In Minnesota, when I was having conversations and smoking some of the most fire, funky, sticky, icky green, motherfucking lime green weed with a multimillionaire, the owner of Sex World. You know what I'm saying? In my other homegirl house. He didn't give a shit. He didn't give a shit. Dressed down in it, and in these two particular instances, you wouldn't know by the look of them. You wouldn't know either one of them had anything more than $50. You wouldn't know any one of them. And then growing up in Minnesota, being around many millionaires, I know how understated they are in public if they're not actively in or going to a business meeting or, some shit like that. They're very understated. They don't have on shit fancy. They're not drawing attention to themselves. They're not wearing their wealth all over themselves. And they don't give a shit what a po motherfucker is judging on them. They don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I remember in the 90s, Oprah, my mom used to watch Oprah, and she did a test. She had, I think I'm going to end here with the mob. She had a bunch of, not a bunch, she had a few millionaires in the audience. And she had them plus, or it might have been one, but she had, I think it was like three people stand up. And she asked the audience, that's not what I meant to do. Yeah, it is. She asked the audience of those people that she selected, who did they think the millionaire was? And of course, they all selected the one who was dressed the nicest. And it was the one just in a t-shirt and jeans. I mean, he wasn't dressed like a bum. He just had on a t-shirt and some jeans. And they were all, and this was the Oprah show back in the 90s. These are all adults in the crowd. They was all like, all you heard was gasps all around. That was one lesson that I never forgot. I never forgot. And we see it today. We see it today. From Zuck Fuck, even when Steve Jobs was alive, Elon Musk, even with the old people like Charlie Munger and uh his partner, like they have billions of dollars. Why the fuck they need to walk around and look like it? You know? Why do Zuck fuck need to look like he got all this money? Even when he first started getting money, I saw an interview with him where he was saying he was still living in a studio apartment. And Facebook had taken off by then. He was a millionaire already. And even the interviewers be like, even Bezos, back when he was still looking like a dork. He was still looking like a dork. He was being interviewed in his little Honda. He was in a Honda, like Hotel Honda, that I became a mobile dweller in. And back then, even the interviewer was like, reportedly you're worth, it was however many billion. And, even that made him uncomfortable. You could see it. So the interviewer went and got right to the point. He was like, what's with the Honda? And Jeff Bezos laughed. He was like, it's a good car. It's a good car. It's reliable. It's a good car. Like, why would I get rid of it? That's what I'm talking about. But we get up, goddamn me, $2,000-$3,000. As soon as we $2,000-$3,000 up, we want to go splurge. As soon as we get $2,000 or $3,000 up, we want to go splurge on some liabilities. Some liabilities. It's funny. It's funny. But the Gen Z, they got it. They got it. They got it. I love the fact that they don't take no discouragement from the millennials or the Gen Xers. They like, fuck what y'all talking about. I'm not trying to hear none of that victim woe is me bullshit y'all talking about. I'm so with it. I'm so with it. I'm so with it. I'm so with it. It's just in the 90s, it felt like well, the Gen X crew that I ran with, it was a good mix because when I look back, even the 5 percenters, I think what we allowed to hold us back is we really feel like there's some reward for being lowly. Somewhere along the lines, we feel like there's a reward for being lowly, and there isn't. There isn't. Not even in scripture. There's no reward for being lazy and not being willing to bet on yourself and leave something for your children's children, or at least attempting to, at least dying in the effort, in the attempt of creating something that you leave for your children's children. There's no reward in that. There's no honor in that. Like, how did we look at our parents who didn't own businesses or who didn't own anything, apartment buildings, who didn't own anything? How do we look at them and say, I want to do that? I want to just, grow up and complain and work myself to death and not leave a goddamn thing for my kids. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow in their footsteps. No, no, no. I don't, like I say, even to die in the attempt, you know? Like 50 said in one of his interviews, even if I would have died before I got here, I still would have succeeded because I died doing what I want to do. Get rich or die trying. And I think people overlook that. Die trying. Get rich or die trying, which means my whole purpose is to get rich, and not for the sake of getting rich, for the sake of making sure my grandchildren and great grandchildren don't have to die trying. I'm going to die trying or get rich so they don't have to. But we just like, fuck it, you on your own. Matter of fact, you got to get out at 18. I mean, shit, I begged my kids to stay home. They couldn't fucking wait to move out because they didn't want to keep hearing that shit I was talking about. Work for yourself. You can figure it out. How can we figure it out together? They didn't want to do that. I want to go and beg somebody else's daddy for a job and then talk shit about him because he ain't doing what I want to do. It just doesn't make sense to me, you know? So I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind because I like being able to figure it out. I like being able to figure it out. I love everything that I've ever created from my magazine. I had 6 issues of my magazine, and then I started the cleaning business. I started that so that I could fund my magazine, but the way I structured it, I just got way too busy to do that. And I was homeless at the time, so I was saving every penny so that I can get another home, which was the Mercedes Mansion. And then, by then I had 7 clients, so I was working, and then my social media, my Instagram started taking off, and it just everything just took me um, away from it. And then, you know, it just it's just how it went. But everything from that to even the clothing brand that I started, I have my manufacturer in Pakistan, everything, my journals, even in Minnesota, building up my own clientele, and the way that I did hair, the the fact that my focus was on healthy hair, the way that I did makeup, just everything about me. And then the fact that I teach along the way, I'm so proud of the fact that I'm able to be my own person, gives me the freedom to really think things through. So I'm not just half-assing shit. Even with my journals, I I didn't feel the need to half-ass them. You know what I mean? Because I'm using them as well. And my name is on these things. One thing I decided as a young teen, my integrity is not for sale. I'm never ever going to sacrifice my integrity, no matter what I do. My integrity is not for sale. So everything I do with integrity, even my cleaning. And I have people talking shit about that. I don't care about that. I have 1 degree of separation between me and my money. Everything I do, it's 1 degree of separation. There's not some motherfucker's name I don't know signing my check, direct deposit. No, no. And I personally, I like that. I like that for me. That 1 degree of separation. You the one I'm working with. You the one that's paying me. You the one buying my. You the one subscribing to my magazine because I had 5 subscribers. It was dirt cheap. My rate was dirt cheap. Like I definitely wasn't making a living off of that, but I had 5 people who believed in me and believed in my magazine enough to support it and subscribe, get a yearly subscription. So even that, like they paid me directly. I like that. I like that. I create my own opportunities. I make my own choices, and from those choices that I create for myself, I make my own decisions, right? Because we know a choice and a decision are different. I create my own choices. And from those choices that I put together for myself, I make my own decision. And I like the fact that I'm free enough and can breathe deeply enough to do that. You know, it works for me because my overhead is low and I don't mind. I don't mind even before I became a mobile dweller because I've always been a nomad. I've always moved around to different states. And even living traditional, I've always lived below my means. I've always lived below my means, even when I lived in an apartment. They were always nice. I didn't live in the slums, but I've always lived below my means. I know how to get the most for what I'm spending. I know how to get the most out of my money. So I've always uh, been able to do that. And even the duplex that we lived in my teen years, we moved there when I was 13. I pride myself on the fact that I found that place for my mom. I was helping her look through the newspaper. So I got the newspaper, I was looking through the classified, and I had circled some places, and I didn't know what her budget was. I didn't know shit, but again, I know numbers. I know numbers. And I didn't even know what the going rates were, but I know numbers. So I saw a 3 bedroom duplex and it was $650 a month. And all of that just sound like a great deal. And this was, I think, 1989. And it just all sound like a great deal. 3 bedroom duplex for $650 a month. I don't know if it's a good deal or not, but it sounds like a fantastic deal. And I circled it and I showed it to my mom, and she called, and that's the place we ended up getting. Ended up making some lifetime friends. I called my cousin and my sister, and it was just dope, right? So I've always been able to do that. I've always been able to get the most of my money. So I like living below my means. I enjoy living below my means because um, at the time, I like nice things, and if I can even get these nice things, these name brand things at a lesser cost, that's what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to do. If I got to get the name brand things, but I'm going to get it on clearance or I'm going to get it a season later, I don't give a shit about that. That's what I'm going to do. But I like nice things and I like living below my means so that I can afford the nice things on discount. Okay? Not at full, because the way I grew up, only a fool pays full price, because you got to think about the markup, right? And going to fashion design school, I really learned about the markup, but I already thought, like, you got to be a fool to pay full price for shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just ridiculous. Why are you just giving away money? You're just giving away money that you don't have for what? When you could get this same shit for $150 less. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. And that's how I've always viewed shit. So even when I became an extreme couponer, yes, like the TV show, that was me. That was me, 100%. I had a motherfucking stockpile for 4 years after I stopped couponing. 4 years after I stopped, I still had my stockpile of a bunch of shit that I moved to Arizona with in my little Honda. So that's just me. I like living below my means because however I live, wherever I live, I'm going to live below my means, you know, and I'm not going to be living like a bum. This is, and even I can't even say that because I don't feel like I'm living like a bum. I have my income is very, very, very menial right now, but it's growing because I'm constantly putting in effort. And I had to sacrifice not taking any more clients. I had to sacrifice that because, for one, I don't live in California and I didn't come here to stay here. So, with what I was doing and how I was doing it, it was going to keep me here. And I didn't come here to stay here. I had no intentions on staying here. So, I had to sacrifice all the money that I was making to say I'm not taking on any more clients. The client that I had the longest, um, once I was down to just them, I said I'm not taking any more clients. This is going to affect me greatly. Like, that's why I can't move around the way I did, because I got to really preserve my gas. I filled up my tank. When did I get my YouTube payout? I got my YouTube payout June 25th or 26th. I did this build out with Anna on June 27th. I want to say I filled up my tank on the 26th. I'm still driving that same tank of fucking gas from June 26th. Do you hear me? I'm still driving that same tank of gas. It is July 20. So when I tell y'all, I'm really sacrificing. I don't drive. I rarely, I'm going within a few blocks. That's what I mean, because right now my focus is on building my income without my body, without having to go here and go there and, this, that, and the third. It's the sacrifice I got to make. But it's coming. It's coming slowly but surely. But y'all have heard the saying, slow motion is better than no motion, baby. Okay? So your girl got motion. Your girl got motion. It's slow. But goddamn it, stagnant water smells like shit. Your girl is not stagnant. I'm not stagnant. I'm moving slowly. It's moving slowly. It's moving enough to keep the flies out and to keep it from stinking. You hear me? is moving enough to keep it from stinking. And I'm just going to keep on learning more. I'm just going to keep on figuring it out. Because another one, the more you learn, the more you earn. So I'm just going to keep on learning and executing so that all these different buckets that I'm pouring into, eventually they're going to overflow. And once they start flowing regularly, y'all going to know it just because I'm going to be moving around more. That's going to be your first clue to know it. My spending won't be any different, but I'll be moving around more. So then I'll be buying gas more, but I'll be moving around more, a little bit more. It's going to start off just little, little. And see, I don't have any desire to try and fake it because I'm the only one filling up my tank. So look, I fucks with y'all and I appreciate every single subscription. I appreciate everyone who has bought a journal, but I'm not going to fake it for y'all. I'm not going to fake the funk for y'all and end up fucked up somewhere. I'm not going to fake the funk for y'all. I'm going to give it to you real. I'm in the same little few little spots, but when you see your girl moving around little by little, more regularly, then just know these buckets that I'm pouring into, they're starting to pay back a little more and a little more frequently. Okay? But, it's a sacrifice. And as much as I despise California, I'm not about to set myself up for failure. I'm not about to set myself up for failure. That's what I'm not going to do because um, shit, I lived in Minnesota and hated that motherfucking place, and it was trying to kill me. And I left when it was time for me to leave. You know what I mean? I left when it was time for me to leave, and this ain't nowhere near as bad as that. It's just not what I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? But it ain't. This is nowhere near as for me, right? Because I'm just here. I don't live here. I'm just here, so I can endure hating this fucking place while I'm here, while I'm getting myself set up to be able to leave to where I don't have to really be concerned about when my next piece of income is coming in. Because that's where I'm at right now. Like even with my YouTube is I'm at a every other month, right? Like I'm not gonna get paid out this month because I haven't reached the threshold yet. But by next month, I will have reached it. So I'll get paid out in August, right? I got paid out in June. I'm not going to get paid out in July because I haven't reached it yet, but I'll get paid out in August. You know, hopefully my journal sales will have doubled from where it is now. So hopefully I'll have double the sales from that. If you haven't purchased a journal, make sure you do. Um, so it's just that, and then I'll have another one on there that I'm. Oh, what happened? What happened? So yeah, and I wouldn't trade it. Let me just be honest with y'all. I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade my life. I wouldn't trade my life or how I maneuver it or how I live it for anything else. For anything else. I've learned so much over the years of my life. I've had so many dope ass experiences. I remember having a conversation with Daddy and telling Daddy, that was the one who said, "You don't claim defeat." He said, "It seems like you've lived one hell of a life." I was sharing with him just some stories. Um, and I said, "I have. I have. I have." That particular conversation, I was sharing with him some of my Prince moments. And I said, "I have." And I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade any portion of anything I've experienced, from the most bitter to the sweet. because the bitter moments of my life are what has been the most beneficial. Those are the moments that I've learned the most about myself. Even if you think about bitter greens versus sweet fruit, it's the bitter greens that are better for your body, your internal organs, than the sweet fruit. The sweet fruit, although it's natural sugar, it's still sugar. It's still glucose. It's still not very beneficial for the body. Even in scripture, you know, we're advised during certain times in Passover to eat uh, the lamb with bitter greens. You know, the bitter moments of our lives are the moments that, if we really take heed and look inward, those are the moments we're going to grow from the most. Like what every successful business person said. It was all of their failures, which they had many more of than successes, that they learned the most from. You know, you when you when you pass a test with every correct answer, okay, you got it correct. You know you got it correct, but you didn't exactly learn anything. Whereas every wrong answer, you're learning more from that wrong answer than you are from the correct answer. Whether it's being told what the correct answer is, now you know. So that's something more that you just learned. Or from having to redo it and do more research, ah, then some epiphany or something you missed. So now you're learning. We learn more from when we fall, from the bitter moments, from the mistakes we make. But far too many people, the majority, I feel, go through life um, just being so upset about the bitter moments, about the falls, or being embarrassed that they just don't even look at it again, you know, and that's never been me. That's never been me. So yeah, I wouldn't trade any portion of my life. None of it. None of it. Because I look at it like this. And the first time I had answered the question, I was 19, of stating I don't have any regrets. And that was at 19, coming out of a child relationship, you know, a tumultuous relationship, because I was with my kid's dad from the ages of 15 to 19. And um, that relationship was just horrible. And then it turned violent. And, you know, so coming out of that with two kids, even at 19, I said, I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets. So now, 30 years later, I definitely don't have any regrets, because any one thing that, if I were to redo and do differently, it would affect everything right now today. And I don't know if that would be for the positive or negative. I don't know if that would be for the positive or negative. I don't know. But I like where I'm at right now. I like who I am. No, 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 no. I love who I am right now. I love who I am. I fucks with me the long way. I fucks with me the long way. Like I've said to y'all before, I love me enough for all those who don't and won't, baby. You ain't got to. You ain't got to, because I fucks with me. I love me. And I always have, you know. And I've been teased about every portion of me. I don't give a shit. Even from a little girl, I didn't care. Even from a little girl, I didn't care. Because even my auntie validated me. You know what I mean? So I didn't care. She kept me clean as a motherfucker, kept my face smooth and shining and shit, kept my hair beaded up, braided up down my back. Couldn't nobody tell me I wasn't cute. And then when I took that shit off and I'm putting on my tomboy shit and I'm out there on the monkey bars and I'm cold as a motherfucker on them monkey bars with my long legs and my long arms tagged from across the monkey bars, you know what I'm saying? Playing double dutch, dropping them ropes as soon as I hear last one on the monkey bars is it. Shalanda, man, fuck this double dutch. I just been waiting for the boys to come out. I don't want to jump no double dutch. What are you talking about? What are you saying to me? Don't you know I'm that pretty tomboy? Look, I only want to get cute when it's time to get cute. Outside of that, let me go play. Let me go play. Okay? Let me go play. Touch football. Let me go play. Let me ride my big wheel. Yes, I had a big wheel. Let me go ride my motherfucking big wheel. Look, let me go play. I was always quick to take that cute shit off. Look, it was cute. It was cute. But I gotta be stiff. Skirt on, gotta, keep your legs closed and, sit like this and sit like that. And that was cool. That was cool. But put me on some shorts, put me on some pants, put me on a t-shirt. I'm gonna put my tennis shoes on. You know what I'm saying? Take these college bros off, because you can't scuff up your college bros now. If you from the South, you know about college bros. You can't scuff up your college bros, and those were not cheap. Please take them off. Take these baby doll socks off. It's all cute. Take this cute shit off of me. Put on my Jordache jeans so I can hit them monkey bars. I want to make some mud pies. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't change anything. Anything. Because everything to me is valuable. Every experience I've had, from the bitter to the sweet, like I said, is valuable to me. All of it. All of it. Because I paid attention to me. I've never been a blamer. I've never been a blamer. I've never been one to blame. I even blame me for the experience of being molested. Not to say it was my fault. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, I create, as a creator, I create every experience in my life with my energy. And I know that I was confused and angry when my mom just came out of nowhere and just abruptly, unbeknownst to all of us, took me away from St. Louis right after my grandmother's funeral. Because I didn't live with her. I lived in St. Louis with my grandmother and my aunt who was raising me. My grandmother was sick for 6 years of my 9-year life. So my mom knew my grandmother wasn't raising me. But all of that low frequency vibration of anger that was inside of me, that at 9 I didn't know how to get out, but so I just held it in. It had to come out some kind of way. So that's what I mean when I say that. Because who would I blame? Who would I blame? But this took years after me being my own therapist. And even before that, like after becoming my own therapist, it made sense to me as why I was not enraged, right? Towards the things that happened. And I had to accept I'm the reason everything happens in my life, because I'm the creator of everything that happens in my life. My vibration. The universe only responds to vibration. Everything that is living is in motion. The only things that are not in motion are dead. Everything in this universe, on this planet, is in motion. Everything. Everything. You can look at anything under a microscope or through a telescope. Every single thing is in motion, no matter how still it seems. And every single thing is on a certain frequency. When I listen to my jazz station, which is on the FM dial 88.1. Now, if I turn to 97.3 and think I want to hear the jazz that's on 88.1, I'm on the wrong frequency. If I go to 87.7 and want to hear the jazz that's playing on 88.1, I'm on the wrong frequency. How the fuck you expecting to hear the what's coming from 88.1 and you're on 89.9 FM frequency? Make it make sense. Make it make sense. It's not any different. Frequency is frequency. Light travels on a certain frequency, sound travels on a certain frequency. You can make your mouth say anything, but your vibration inside is what the universe is giving you, because that's what you believe. Whatever vibration you're putting out there is what you believe, and that's what you're returning. This is why I had to talk about this on my Instagram a couple years ago. This is why I don't believe in just random affirmations. Because if you don't believe it, if it's not what you believe, then you can't affirm it. How can you affirm something that you don't believe? Because as you're saying it, your vibration is, I'm lying. This isn't even real. You can only affirm what you believe. You can only call into your experience things that you really, really believe because you're on that frequency. From day one, I could have told y'all my name is Tiffany Robinson and could make it sound as believable as I want to. Come up with a whole story of being from Connecticut. I don't know any cities in Connecticut, but from somewhere, right? I could have made up a whole bunch of bullshit. But just because I say it out my mouth doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it actual. And how long would I be able to keep that up? Because it's not the truth. It's not my reality. How long could I keep that up? You can't even fake your real energy. That's why everything that happens in our experience is just a reflection of what we're giving off. That's it. That's it. So I wouldn't change anything about any portion of my experience. Nothing at all. I wouldn't change not one thing. Nope. Because the whole way through it all, I've always liked me. I've always fucked with me through all of it. Through all of it. And I never, ever, ever, not one time, not from my youngest years, I never blamed God or cursed God or any of that. Never. Not even one time. Not even one time. No matter what. When my family was broken apart, nothing I ever experienced, no matter how traumatic, I never, ever, ever questioned or blamed God ever. No. And even that I've had to defend. Even that while going through shit, I've had to defend. It just didn't make sense to me. So, I can't do something just because many people do it. I don't care. I'm only me. I'm only me. So I've always moved as me. I never tried to move with the collective or as a collective because I recognized from a young age that I don't even agree with the masses. I don't think like them. I don't even agree with them. So I can never move like them because I don't even agree with how they moving or why they're moving. I remember asking on my Instagram a couple years ago, how do you know that you like what you like? How do you know that you like what you like? The first time I really, not the first time, because the first time I was about 12. But the reason I posed that question like that on my Instagram is because I remember when I moved out of my mom's house. And it took me quite a few years before I finally got my own place. I moved in with my kid's dad. We were some teenagers moving in with his uncle. And the first time I got my own place with my kids, I bought Tide because that's what my mom always bought. But now I'm washing the clothes. I have toddlers who I let play outside. And this one particular laundry weekend, the Tide did not get my kids' clothes clean. This shit was hella fragrant, but their clothes was not clean at all. And I was pissed. So the first one I went to because I liked the commercial, so I said, let's see if this commercial is true, was Era. Era got my kids' clothes clean, baby. The whites were white, the stains were gone from the colored clothes. I was like, ooh, now this is what I'm talking about right here. The next one I went to when I couldn't afford Era was All. All was better than Tide. Every Arm& Hammer was better. Every motherfucking thing is better than Tide. And I just remember thinking, see, this is why my mom always reinforced and encouraged me to think for myself. Because if I was just to do what my family did, is what my mom bought, then I would still be walking around with dingy ass clothes, smelling like fucking perfume, fucking around with Tide, spending all that money on some shit that didn't work. My kids walking around with beige and it's supposed to be white, brand new outfits with grass stains on them and shit, because I'm just stuck to this what my mom used, so this what I'm gonna use. Fuck that. Now I'm questioning her like, what the fuck? You just didn't give a fuck then, huh? Or maybe our shit wasn't dirty enough for you to notice the difference. I don't know, but I noticed having toddlers. And then I'm extremely observant. I'm hyper observant. I'm very, very observant. And so that's what made me pose the question. How do you know that what you like is what you like? Have you ever questioned what you like? Have you ever questioned why you eat what you eat? Have you ever questioned why you buy the things that you buy? Why do you think the way that you think? You know, how do you know that what you like is what you like? And I think that's something that people should ask themselves, especially Black Americans. We need to ask ourselves because we're big on grandmama did it, so I'm gonna do it. My mama did it, my grandmama did it, so I'm gonna like we're big on that follow the leader, monkey see, monkey do. We're big on that. We're big on following the family into nothingness. We are, we love it. We love it. We take pride in that. And you know, traditionalism has gotten us nowhere. Nowhere. That's why I cleaned up my diet at 20. That's why I stopped eating soul food because I didn't want to look like my aunties and I didn't want all them health problems. Because you can't tell me it don't come from all this shit. And this is all we've eaten our whole life. Mm-mm, mm-mm. You can't tell me. So at 20, with no health issues, being fit and trim and athletic, fine as a motherfucker, I say, you know what? I'm done with all that shit. I'm not eating any of that because I don't want to look like that at 40. I don't want them health problems at 40. And I already showed y'all what I look like at 40. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm 49 now and I still don't look like that. And I won't ever because I made that decision 30 years ago to not look like that. I knew it was the food. I knew it was my decisions. I knew it was all based on the decisions that I made from what I eat to what I think to what I speak, who I hang around, what I read, what I watch, you know? It's all relevant. And that's why I even tell people, even now, like, I don't have any issues. I don't have any drama come my way. I don't get harassed by the police. I'm sitting here now with my doors open. I'm sitting here now with my doors open. You see the lights on. In all the years that I've been a mobile dweller, I don't have issues. That window's open, this door is cracked. I don't get harassed. But I don't give off that energy. I don't give off that energy. And anytime um, the police has checked on me, that's how I word it. Because I'm like, I'm a single woman. Of course, the police are going to check on me. And I do mean that because it was never come from like a, it's never been that. Like, I've never had that experience, you know? And then in the mansion, when I had when my window coverings were white fur on the inside, and especially if I was in there crocheting, honey, please, I had the police looking out for me. Dead ass. When the mansion went down, they were looking out for me. The one was like, I knew this was yours. I didn't want to tow it. I get to showing them around, and I see them smiling and shit like, oh, you really got it set up in there. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And the only reason they would come, like when I was in Irvine, is just because how I'm hanging out in here. It's been in, I want to say either two times I was on live. I was doing my live Discord. So people were there live seeing it happen, and they saw it wasn't a knock or a harsh. None of that. It would just be, I'm hanging out. Either my back hood was open or something that would draw attention to my vehicle. So then they come and checking it out, like, what's going on? Yeah. So shit, I get to showing the motherfucker off. Y'all trying to talk about this. I'm like, look, this and up there is my pantry because I have my passenger seat taken out in the mansion, and I'm showing them my pantry, my kitchen lifted up, all my things in there, my plants and shit because I have my plants in there too. They like, damn, and the one that peeked in to get a better look. It's like, damn, it's nice in there. I was like, I know, right? It is. It is. Yeah. Yeah. This is I was like, because I don't like RVs. Like, you're not going to bury me in a fucking RV, okay? I'm not going to be caught dead in a RV. No way, baby. I'm going to create my own mobile home because I can think for myself. You're not just going to tell me that's acceptable. I don't give a fuck. This is acceptable for me, you know? And people like it. Even here at the library, when the library is open and I have my door open, honey, everybody be looking and not looking crazy because it looked too good in here. Even before this, but especially with this build out, it looks too good in here. So people be curious. And I look so comfortable, so people really be curious. Then they see the plants. It's just like, what the fuck she got going on in there? And the older ladies, they smile, especially when I see the plants. And then when I have them up there, this one older lady, the last time I had them all up there, she just stopped right here for a little bit and was just looking up at my plants and just smiling. And that made me, I was sitting in here, she couldn't see me, but that just made me smile. I was like, I know. They just, how can you not smile when you see plants? You just have to. You just have to smile when you see plants or a tree and I'm that one that hug trees. Yes. 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 So anyway, that's my little life chat in a nutshell. So make sure y'all go and check out 10 cents. Don't forget that. 10 cents. TENCENT, baby. And if you want to see the full story, check it out on Magnates Media. Magnates Magnates Media on YouTube. So you can see that story and just, you know, it's deep. All right. Um, in the description of this video, or also in all of my videos, you don't have to wait for this one, but in all of my videos, there are links to both of my journals. Make sure you go check them out. Even if you're not ready to purchase one, just go share the link. Go share the link on your Facebook pages, your social media stories. Just share the links. Even that right there is support. I appreciate it. And when you're ready to order, you know where to find the links. If you just want to donate to the channel, that's also You can do that either via PayPal or Cash App. You can become a member or join my Patreon or just subscribe if you're not subscribed already. So thank y'all for hanging out on this Friday night live. I appreciate y'all. Have an amazing evening. Have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all in the comments.